Welcome back. Well, Sunday, November 18th is Science Sunday at the T. Stell Newman Visitor Center. With me now is Dr. Sarah Lemer, who is the Senior Research Faculty of the Genomics at the UOG Marine Lab. So she deals a lot with genetics in fish.
In corals.
And coral.
Yes.
That's right. Marine bio. And that is the topic of Science Sunday this weekend.
Exactly. Thank you for having me here. So this Sunday, I'll be speaking about my research and a lot of other faculties at the Marine Lab's research right now. We're working on coral reefs of Guam and their genetics response to all the stresses that they are going through.
Really cool. Now, as I said before, I really do love science, but I don't know anything about coral and genetics. And maybe can you share a little bit about your experience of what your research has found and what you're going to be speaking on this
Yes,
Sunday?
absolutely. So if you have been snorkeling around the island of Guam last summer, you probably seen coral bleaching. So what happens is when the seawater temperature gets really high, the corals are stressed and they lose their color. Their color is the result of an association between the coral itself and a symbiotic algae, and they live together.
Right.
But when the coral is stressed, they lose their algae and eventually they die. So when you see a bleached coral, it basically looks like a white coral.
Right.
And this phenomenon has been happening a lot in the past summer, since 2013 on Guam. And slowly the reef of Guam is losing a lot of its live coral.
Right.
So what we're trying to do at the Marine Lab, me and 3 other colleagues, is to understand why this is happening at the molecular level in the coral colony itself. And the reason why we're asking ourselves this question is because we noticed that, so if you're snorkeling on the reef during the hot season and the seawater temperature is high, you'll see, like I said, these corals bleaching, but some of them remain healthy. And they're not just healthy, they're also thriving.
Right.
And so some corals can resist the stress, and we're wondering why and what is happening in their genetic makeup that explains why they survive.
Wow, that's a really big question. And tell us a little bit about why asking that question is important, and how have your colleagues, how have you been going around to do the research?
So it's important because the better we understand how things function, the better we are geared towards helping management and conservation. So our idea is to improve our knowledge, what is happening at the molecular level in the corals that survive. And once we understand that, can we help corals, survive better? Are we supposed, should we protect the ones that seems to be stronger? Should we bring them back in the lab and have them, reproduce in the lab so we can have a generation of strong corals?
Right.
So that's what we're trying to figure out. But the first step is understanding what is happening. And so we're looking at different aspects. I'm working on the coral individual itself. One of my colleagues is looking at population. So we've noticed that around Guam, different populations of coral will fare better or worse during the hot season. And another colleague is looking at the species level. So what species of corals are stronger than others?
Wow, lots of coral research happening. Tell us a little bit about Science Sunday. I know this is the first time that you will be presenting, and how does it work? It is at the Visitor Center, the Newman Visitor Center.
So my understanding is that it is at the Newman Visitor Center at 2 p.m. on Sunday, and it is open to the public. It's a free event. And so I will be talking about my research, and it will be geared towards, everybody. So it's not going to be very technical, exactly. So it's basically to inform the public what we're doing and what is happening around Guam.
And I always think that's really neat to kind of go to these science talks and kind of get a feel for what the researchers are doing and what we can do. So that was my other question, is what do you think that we can do, maybe if we're watching this at home and we listen to you talk and we learn a little bit about coral? What would your suggestions be for us to take care of the coral as well?
There's a lot of things that people can do. So the major threat right now, and it's a global threat, it's the rising of seawater temperature. And there's not much we can do as people on our daily, activities. But what happens is corals have to face a lot of different stresses at the same time. So not only is the seawater temperature rising, but the water is being polluted. People walk on the reef when they, because they're not being careful or they don't know that a coral is a live animal. And so to help coral survive a stress, we can make sure we do everything we can to reduce the other kind of stress, right? When you are sick, if you have the flu and pneumonia and something else, it's going to be really hard for you to recover. Whether if you just have to deal with one problem at a time, it's better. So we're trying to, I encourage people, to spread the word. Corals are a live animal and they're really important for the reef because they provide food for, habitat for fish. So fisheries, they provide decoration for the reef. People come here to snorkel.
That's very true.
Right?
I love the coral that we have here. I think it's beautiful. And on that